Hello everyone, thank you for coming back to my channel again. Last time we left at the point where we were making lists on our pages. If I quickly bring those pages onto that page, sorry, not pages, that page onto my screen quickly. This is where we left. I just want to add a few bits here. You can provide these little sort of attributes here, and as I said, I'll go into the details of all types of attributes you can add into the HTML elements. But another point is you can the styling bit of the lists. You can obviously style provide the styles to the lists. For example, if I just go here and say style equal to let's say border 1 or maybe 5 pixel solid red. So if I just add that, that should bring up a sort of border onto that table. And if you shift that border to any other element, you can see if you apply on all the elements, other elements, it's gonna come up with the rows as well, individual. So these attributes, the style attribute, and I'll go into the details of the internal style sheet, external style sheets, or inline styling, but much more details. But for now, you should understand like how you can actually style with HTML attributes, or with the basic inline styling with the style attribute. This is how you can give different, you can apply a background, or you can change the text color or font or anything through the styling bit. Over today's lesson is, because we covered quite a lot of tags here today, as when I started my video, I was on to HTML tables. As you can see, HTML tables, I put all the definitions and everything here, and at the end you can get all the basic sort of definitions to remember. But I'm going to create here the tables straight away. If I quickly hide all that data, another point quickly, if I tell you, you can select all your code and press command. If you are on a Mac, command and forward slash, so it comments your code. And if you're on Windows, you can use the control and forward slash, and it comments your all the code. So all that comment means this is going to disable all the code here. This is not going to output onto the screen. So if I do, I removed all the basically the body area, the working area of the page, just to make things easier for you to see. So what I'm going to do is, this is how, before I actually start tables, I'm going to tell you the tables are quite important to understand, because a lot of time we as a developer, we deal with tables. And in fact HTML5, when we used to make, before the HTML5 came up in 2014, before hex HTML, websites used to be created in the tabular format. People used to create table, and within table they used to provide elements. I can show you a website, for example. That is the website my colleague done in 19, maybe in 2000 and 2003 or something. This is Jira manufacturing. As you can see, this whole website was done in a HTML technology. So that time HTML5 was not in the market. So if you see, the coding of the website is done through the tables and TRs and TDs and all these things. So tables are quite important. Sometime I'll go at the end of the this tutorial, I'll explain the importance of tables, but for now you should just know how to create table on a web page. This is how you create. You write table and tab, and you can write opening tab and closing tab of the table, and this is basically going to create a table inside in the page, the body area, and then you can make a tr. Tr is basically the row of the table. So you can create a row, and within the rows you can create the data cells for the table. You can table data, and your data goes here. So if I just make, let's say, 2, 3, 4 sort of rows, and go back to the page, as you can see, all they are, as you can see, a small little line in between that shows the table. At the moment this is not having a border, that's why it doesn't look like a table. But and also it has a one row. If I go back and create another row, and let's say another row, maybe 3 rows, let's say this is a students table with the student 1 detail, student 2 detail, student 3 detail, or it's a products table, product 1, 2, 3, 4. So sorry, to save time, I'm not writing the exact things in there. I'm just copying and paste to show you how table can look. As you can see, this table is now having a 3 rows, and if I add a bit of CSS, instead of adding a CSS with the style attribute, I can add inline styling at the top, styles, and I can add here, and I can say table, and I can say, for example, if just to show you, if I just write table and give some CSS command to only table 2 pixel solid blue. So if I add a border onto the table, then it's gonna add a border around whole table, but we want a border between the rows and columns. So you can add a table trtd. So if I do trtd, this is going to add a border on. Now it looks like a table, tabular data. So you can add CSS. I'll go to the CSS part in very detail, but this is right now. I'm not gonna basically spend much time on CSS and explaining you. I can give a gray color. Another thing I can do is to make this table full width. At the moment it's just sitting in the corner and not looking great. If I add a bit of CSS here, for example 100%, as you can see, this is just running through the whole window. And you can add, for example, in the TDs you can add a padding of maybe 15 pixel. This is going to add a bit more breathing space between the cells of your table. Another thing is you can provide, for example, another row at the top of the table, and you can do something like th, and this is, we call it, let's say, student name, and another th, we can call it date of, sorry, not date of birth, date of birth. And another sort of column, we can say email, or we can say another one, we can address of the student. So what we can do is, not of the student, we can just say address. So if I save that and refresh my page, as you can see, it's adding a heading, table headings onto the each column, the top of each column. You can obviously assign sort of borders or backgrounds and bigger fonts and stuff, but this is how you create table heading. You can also create something like, you can add a cell padding or call spacing. For example, you want in one particular row, you want to occupy 3 columns or 4 columns in one row, or you can explore in more detail the attributes of the table. But this is this is the way you create the table structure in HTML. Now, the importance of tables is, basically, many times when we render data from database, we pick data is in a huge sort of quantity. we make one table and plot all the data on that table, and it's very easy to create sort of to render all the massive amount of data in a table, like the maybe sheets of payrolls or student names, or when you're dealing with large and complex data, or so tabular format. Another good thing is these tables can be used, as I told you in the beginning. In the past, they used to be used for making the layouts of the websites. Most of the HTML5 websites were created in the tabular formats. You can do the styling bit much more with the, you can access the odd elements of the table, odd or even elements. You can access nth rows, you can run counters, you can provide sort of PHP commands before and after the rows, and you can generate the whole row from database. So we'll see much more complex tables in a coming lessons when we actually land on the PHP and MySQL side of the lessons. But for now, you should know how to create table and how to render it onto your page. This was all about the tables lesson. What I'll do is, I think it's maybe enough about tables. In coming lessons, I'll cover a bit more, maybe a few more other things. For example, one of the very important thing is, I was thinking of, is the HTML forms, where people, you see in the websites, for example, if I go to, if is there any website open, for example, if I want to download a brochure of their products, what I'll do is I'll click on download, and if you go on a download area, they have this massive form to fill. Once you fill that form, then it allows you to give the copy of the download brochures and stuff. So excuse me. So this is basically HTML form. So we should know like how to add HTML forms onto our page here. We will add so many tags, for example, the input drop downs, radio boxes, check boxes, text areas, and much more. So stay tuned with me, and I'll come back with some more exciting stuff. Thank you very much for watching, and so don't forget to subscribe my channel to get the updates for the new videos. Thank you very much.